I was about to say that my TBR is shorter than it usually is, but it really isn't, so... Hello friends, I'm Rosa, welcome to the channel. So, today we are talking August TBR. What happened with the year? We're already in August. Summer's almost over. Let's just, I don't know, calm down or something. Time is just flying by. I don't like it. But as for my TBR for August, I tried to keep it a little bit shorter because last month I ended up being super busy for a week and then also sick for a whole week. And I can't really read that well when I'm sick because I'm just so tired. I feel like I fall asleep all the time. So I didn't really do a lot of reading, to be honest, and I'm really behind on the books that I wanted to read last month. So I thought I was gonna try to make room for them this month. However, my TBR is still 9 books. I don't know how it happened, but it did. Let's not dwell on it too much though. I'm gonna make sure to link to all the books that we're gonna talk about today in the description box, so if you want to check any of them out, you can do so by clicking on the links there. And I think that's all I want to say before we get started talking, so let's look at the first book, shall we? So this month, I'm actually buddy reading 2 books with my patrons. By the way, if you want to check out the book club, there's a link to it in the top of the pinned in the pinned comment at the top of the comment section. But one of the books that we are reading is We Hunt the Flame by Hafsah Faizal. If I enjoy this, which I'm expecting to, I will also read We Free the Stars, which I have standing right here if you can see it. I don't know much about the nitty-gritty details of this book, other than we follow our lead girl who is being sent out on a mission kind of to restore magic, but the Sultan's son, who is known as, is this like the Prince of Death or something? Yeah, Prince of Death, his name is Nasir. He's been sent out to basically kill her. So, story is about returning magic to the world, but also we have a little bit of an enemies to lovers situation, it sounds like. And seemingly there's also something else brewing in this whole kingdom, empire, whatever you want to call this world that they're in. So I'm excited to explore this. I've heard beautiful things about mainly the second book, but also the first one. Just mainly the sequel though. I'm excited to be reading this and covering it in a spoilery vlog for Patreon, so it's gonna be a lot of fun. But as there was a tie in the vote that I put up, I'm also going to be reading Twin Crowns by Katherine Doyle and Katherine Weber, and I will also be covering this in another spoilery vlog. But in this book, we follow 2 girls, 2 sisters, that were separated by birth, or at birth, yes. One is the princess and heir to the throne currently, and the other was basically abducted, kidnapped when she was a baby by the witches. So our princess has been taught to defend the queendom, against witches, but our other sister is basically planning to usurp the queen, the current queen, with the witches. So it'll be a little bit fun to see where this goes. 2 sisters, 1 crown. And see if these 2 girls actually figure out that they're sisters, because I don't really... Oh, they match color scheme wise. That is a complete coincidence, I swear. But I'm expecting them to not actually know that they're related, so it'll be a little bit fun to see how their relationship evolves and stuff once they meet. See them actually bond as sisters, I suppose, or just be like super enemies or something. I don't really know. We'll see. Then I have a 3rd book that I'm also counting on covering for Patreon. But we read the first one together back in, I think it was September or August last year. So it was such a fun time reading that one, and I'm fully expecting this one to be the same, but it's These Twisted Bonds by Lexi Ryan. So this is the sequel to These Hollow Vows, and I had such a good time reading through These Hollow Vows. Like, there are so many twists and turns in that book, and surprises and drama, intrigue and stuff, so I'm expecting this to not let me down, and I'm gonna have fun time covering this as well. I figured it would make sense as well because, first of all, I'm so excited for this book. Like, hear me out, but These Hollow Vows was so good. So I'm fully expecting this to be on par with that, if not a little bit better, because as far as I know, Lexi Ryan is fairly new to young adult fantasy, and honestly, it can only get better, right? She had something good with These Hollow Vows. I'm expecting it to be even better, and it was such a fun read. I just fully enjoyed it. So yep, that is another one that I'll be covering, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I will. We will see how. Yeah. Then at the moment, I am reading Dear Enemy by Kristen Callihan. I had to look that up. Sorry. By Kristen Callihan. And I picked this up because I'd had it in my Kindle Unlimited library for the longest time. It's an adult contemporary romance. I just really felt like reading something contemporary because I've not read any contemporary for a little while, so just randomly found it in my Kindle Unlimited library and decided to start with it. But it is essentially about a guy and a girl. So when they were kids, he was dating her sister. And our lead girl is she feels very insecure, especially about her looks and stuff. Her and this guy always fought, like, they were not nice to each other ever. And at the same time, though, it felt like, at least from an outsider's perspective, that there is something sizzling there. Like, it's not full-on animosity. There's a little bit of something else, but it's like the characters are not really fully aware of it. But anyway, fast forward a few years because all this happened while they went to school. Now they're grown-ups, and her sister is a changed woman. She's a little bit of a troublemaker, and our guy is also a famous actor. So our lead girl's sister actually ended up stealing something very valuable for our lead guy, or from our lead guy. Not for, that's a whole different story. She stole something very valuable from him, and he ends up contacting our lead girl to get help with getting his possession back. But unfortunately, her sister has skipped town, and the two of them, like our lead guy and lead girl, still don't get along. There's a lot of anger, like pinned up anger and vibes. And that's as far as I've gathered so far. So I'm getting into some good stuff now though. So far, so good with that one. I like the vibes, I like the humor. We will see how it goes, but I just really felt like reading something adult contemporary, just like a palate cleanser or something, so I will keep you guys updated on that one for sure. Then I'm reading another book on Kindle that I was told very late last year that I needed to read this year by you guys, and it's called Spellbreaker. It's by Charlie N. Holmberg. And I'm gonna be real, I don't know what it's about. I think I said that in the video as well where I talked about the 12 books that I've been told to read this year. Don't know what it's about. Would actually rather not fully know going into it. I just want to be surprised, but it does have something to do with a woman who has the ability to like break magic. So like if someone throws a spell or a curse or something, she can break it. However, you need to have a license to actually be allowed to use this ability, and she doesn't. And that's all I remember. I just want to leave it at that. I want to go into it kind of like not fully knowing. I just, you know, prefer that sometimes. So for this one, I'm gonna stick to that formula, but I'm reading that this month. I felt like it was a good August to read, and if not this month, then definitely in September, because it does have like a late summer vibe to it, or possibly like an early fall vibe to it, at least to me. So I think it also takes place in London, but I'm not really sure, so like there's a historical fiction element to it. I don't really know, but I'm excited to figure it out. Or find out, yeah. And then the last one that I'm reading on my Kindle, I don't have a physical copy of this book, but it's one that I asked. I basically put it in a vote over on Patreon, but hidden as like, I didn't write the titles, I just gave emojis because it's fun sometimes. So my patrons decided on the one that had an urn and then a sun, because I was trying to spell out Ashes of the Sun by Django Wexler. It's an epic fantasy. It has a little bit of like, it's not sisters, but we are following a pair of siblings that have basically ended up on opposite sides of a war. The world that they're in have been destroyed by magic, and our lead guy is not only trying to find his long-lost sister, who was kidnapped when she was younger, but is also trying to fight the Twilight Order. But little does he know, his sister has actually ended up being trained by the Twilight Order, so the two of them end up having to go head-to-head as well. I'm really excited for this, although also a little bit nervous because it is epic fantasy. I have some other epic fantasy books going on right now that I'm working my way through, but I'm assuming this one is gonna take a little bit, or it's going to be a little bit quicker to read, but we will see. Thank you for choosing it though. I'm super excited to get started with it. So, I mean, even though you didn't know, thank you anyway. And then I got 3 more books that, I mean, 2 of them are pretty short though, so they shouldn't be a problem. Plus, knowing me, I am gonna devour each of these in a day. And it's The Wicked King by Holly Black and also The Queen of Nothing. So these are the sequels to The Cruel Prince, which I read back in June, I think, and I loved it. I read it so quickly. I really wanted to continue on with these ones, but I was kind of going through a bit of an experiment in June, so I didn't really have room in my reading plans to do it. But I'm making time for them in August. Can't say what these are about because they are sequels. However, the first one is about Jude, her twin sister, and also their older sister who is a half-sister. When they were younger, they were taken away from their parents by a male fae who turns out to be their older sister's dad, actually. It's not a spoiler. It's literally in the, like, she's half fae. It's in the prologue. Everything's good. But they're taken off to fae. I believe that's what it's called, right? Fairy? Is it called Fairy? The place where all the fae live. The folk of the air. And even though they're taken under the wings of this guy who is their big sister's father, he has like a higher standing in this fairy world. Even though they're taken under his wing, Jude and her sister are both fully human, and because of that, it's not really easy for them in this world. The other fae are not very nice to them, and like at all, in fact. Jude in particular has issues with this group of also more important fae, if you will. One of them is called Carden. He is actually the youngest prince of fairy, and they bully her. They're terrible towards her. Like, it's just, it's bad. I don't know how to, it's terrible, okay? It's bad. It's really bad. I'm not gonna give any examples because experience it for yourself, but they're really mean to her. But at the same time, he's a little bit interesting as well, that Carden guy, apparently. But other than that, the first book at least is also about like royal court intrigue, if you will. There's some politics thrown in there. Jude is also sent out on a few assignments from someone, and there's a little bit more going on than just a bully romance, which I found very refreshing. I thought it was mainly going to be the bully romance, but I actually enjoyed that there was more to it. So I'm expecting this to be so much fun. And I know absolutely nothing about Queen of Nothing, but still having The Cruel Prince fresh in my mind, I'm very excited to get started with The Wicked King, because the way that they left off the first book, I'm like, what's gonna happen? I need to know. So these are going on my August TBR, but they're also shorter books, and they're YA, so they're gonna, like, there's not a whole lot on every page. I'm gonna read these so quickly. And then lastly, I have had this book on my TBR before, but I never got around to reading it because I think I just didn't have time. So this month I really want to get to it because the sequel is actually coming out fairly soonish, I think, before the end of the year, possibly like October, November, and that is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Sue Lynn Tan. So this is a retelling of, I believe it's Chinese mythology. Yes, it is. Chang'e, the Moon Goddess. It's a retelling of that legend. We follow our lead girl who lives on, she's basically fled to somewhere with her mom, who is being chased down by possibly the Emperor. Yeah, the Celestial Emperor. Wow, they're in hiding. But our lead girl's magic flares up and she has to basically flee to like keep her mother's her mother's secret because the Celestial Emperor is really after her mother, as far as I've understood, but I could be wrong. So she flees to the Celestial Kingdom where she ends up training with the Emperor's son. So she ends up training in both archery and in magic, all while being disguised, and also ends up going on a bit of a quest and adventure to essentially save her mom. But there's a little bit more going on in this kingdom other than that, and I'm excited to figure out what it is because I've heard many lovely things about this book. And this edition is also gorgeous. It's from Fairy Loot. I need to read this before the sequel goes on sale, which it does here in August. So I'm gonna finally read it now because I need to know if I love this one, I will be so sad if I missed out on the sale for the sequel. So we're doing this. Daughter of the Moon Goddess. But those are the books. These 6 and then not this one. You can see it. These 6 and then the 3 ones that I mentioned on Kindle and then whatever I got going on right now as well. I'll let you know at the start of the next month. We'll do a whole reading wrap up, but I'm really counting on being able to properly read this month. Things have calmed down a little bit. I feel a lot better. I feel like I have energy again. I can actually keep my eyes open. So hopefully it'll be a good reading month for me. But let me know if you've read any of these and you enjoyed them. If you're still hanging out here at the end of the video, leave a moon emoji in the comment section for Daughter of the Moon Goddess, or like in a bow with an arrow. I think that's an emoji as well, right? I'm pretty sure it is. I'm fairly sure it is. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you want to stick around for more TBR videos, but also bookish unboxings, 24-hour readathons, reading wrap-ups, and many other kinds of videos, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. But that is all I got for you guys today. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye. Oh, you know,